Michael Soldati here, content team for the Portsmouth Singer-Songwriter Festival. I'm here with the lovely and talented Laina Barakat. She has a band of her own, GirlandPaino. She does an incredible amount of things over on the, well, not seaboard, but the northeast, on the Keene area. You're the executive director of MONIF, right?
Yes, I am.
So let's talk about GirlandPaino. When did you start up? How long's that been running?
So, I guess I wrote my first song when I was, I think, 13. I was in high school. We had to do this research project, and I just was not feeling it. And I somehow convinced my professor to let me write a song instead. And so I ended up writing a song for it, and I had to get the class involved, and have multiple people sing it, and had all these parts and stuff, and it was fun. By the time I graduated college, I had over 300 songs that I'd written, most of which were terrible. You have to go through a lot of poorly made art, I believe, most of the time, unless you're a genius. There are those people.
Thank you.
I know. Before you can do anything really good or authentic, I decided to start doing some home recordings. I had about 20 songs recorded, and I did a MySpace page, and I sent it out. It was just like my brave step. I sent it out to everyone on my email list. My moniker became GirlandPaino simply because it was me and a piano, and it was simple and it was easy, and I didn't have any other idea how to identify myself. Who would have thunk? I wish it was a more profound answer than that. And I started my first band, and I've gone through multiple variations of bands. For the most part, I'm back to being solo. I have a bassist and a drummer who I'm in the studio with right now, who I love.
I've tried my hand at songwriting, I guess, in the past, but I'm more of a writer than a songwriter.
Sure.
So what is that process like? How do you find the melody just comes to you, or is it the words that come to you first? Like what?
Yeah.
How does it happen?
So it's been a variation, I guess, through the process. When I first started writing, it was always the music first. A few years into it, I sort of realized that, mainly when I was trying to play with the band, and I realized there was just too much going on. So I started stripping down the piano, and by doing that, it put a lot more focus on the songwriting. And I guess during that process, it started shifting into, a bit of a melody, a bit of a line. I think probably my favorite songs have come from, I'll get a line maybe, but usually it's a line of melody, like words and a piece, and I'll sit down. And most of my favorite pieces have come out within 20 minutes, the bulk of the song, that I just kind of follow where it's going, map it out, and then it changes always. And I'm constantly taking pieces from some songs and pieces from others. I've been really fortunate to do a lot of songwriting workshops. They're called the Glenn Workshops. They're put on by Image Journal, which is a literary magazine that I love. The reason why I'm bringing up these workshops is they taught me something that I had been doing for the past few years before the workshop, and I never knew really what to call it. And now I do it far more intentionally. And they call it the butterfly net. Let's say you're outside on a spring day or something, and you see a beautiful butterfly fly by. You may never see that butterfly again. And if you don't catch it with your net, you may not have the chance, and some butterflies fly away and you'll never get them back. But other ones, if you're able to capture them, you can use them in the future as inspiration. And now I do it mainly on my computer and on my phone, but I also have a notebook. I have friends who always carry around a notebook in their bag. However it is, when you get an idea, but just write it down. And I think people in all forms of writing do that. With songwriting, it's easy because it's a lyric or a line, and you just jot it down. A lot of my process, a lot of it's just kind of in the moment, inspired by something, but then I always refine it, and usually it's going back to previously discovered. I have hundreds of entries in digital form, books, voice memos, and some of those will never be touched again. They were an idea that maybe wasn't even very good. But every once in a while, when I'm either in the middle of a song and I need to replace something, or I'm stumped, or I want to sit and write.
You go back to the book and you find the butterfly.
Exactly. And I do them all digitally now, or I try to do them mainly digitally now, so that I can copy and paste and move things.
It's a lot easier to...
Yeah, and I've built songs entirely from butterfly findings before. I was born in a parking lot. I was found in an old mailbox. I was laid away with best made plans.
What is that one about?
No, it's a song about identity, I guess, and home, and playing around with sort of mythical origins, mysterious origins, juxtaposed against very humble beginnings, and set in a kind of Americana tone.
It seems like a lot of your work is kind of infused with that sort of like, in some ways it's very grandiose, it's very epic or fantastic, but at the same time it's kind of broken down.
Totally.
You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Return to Oz. You know,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be this fairyland, but it's actually got all these problems. You know, and everything stopped working. The way that it should.
Yeah, I guess I feel like I don't know if necessarily the greatest art, but at least the art that I identify with the most is work that has some sort of brokenness to it, because that's what you relate to. That's what the human experience is. That's what makes it authentic. It's about talking about actual life, and life is often, despite being beautiful and hopeful, it's often quite broken. And that's, I guess, what I feel I can be the most vulnerable and honest is when I talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you. That's Laina, GirlandPaino. Thank you so much for doing this. This is absolutely fantastic. No, but seriously, like, can we get married? Like, and you can just serenade me constantly.
Will you massage my back?
Done.
Done.
Deal.
We're getting married. We just got engaged.
Done. So this is Michael with the content team for the Portsmouth Singer-Songwriter Festival. I'm out.
Don't take much to make a weary heart, and it's so much easier to be broken than to mend. You've given half your life, don't you think that